Hey everybody, what is going on? Fallout here, and today I am going to talk you through how to set up the new cross-save feature in Destiny 2. So first things first, if you haven't done this already, you have to go to the Bungie.net website and link your Steam account if you have one. As of right now, August 21st, Destiny 2 is not on Steam yet. That doesn't happen until October. So even though we're talking about cross-save today, if you plan on playing D2 on PC at all between now and October 1st, that is going to happen on Blizzard. But again, for getting cross-save set up, you might as well just link your Steam account now because it is part of the process. Might as well get it out of the way right now. Okay, so after you have gone to Bungie.net and after you have linked your Steam account for October, you can click in the top right area on your profile picture, and on the drop-down menu, you can go to the new icon that says cross-save. I know some of you might be gun-shy about logging in because it's like, oh, did I log in on the right account? I want to make sure the right guardians of mine get enabled for cross-save. You don't really need to worry about that. Bungie actually did a really good job of making this entire process pretty user-friendly. So yeah, you click on cross-save, you have to agree to the user agreement, and then it is going to take you to this next page where you have to authenticate all of your accounts. Basically, if you own an Xbox, if you own a PlayStation, every platform that you have access to, if you want to use your D2 Guardians on that platform, you have to confirm that, yeah, you are on those platforms. You have to authenticate every account you have under one roof. This is really as easy as just clicking authenticate. Now, Bungie has confirmed over their Twitter account that a lot of people, myself included, were having a lot of trouble with the authentication process. Every now and then there's like a glitch that happens that you try to authenticate, and when you authenticate one account, another account will de-authenticate, and it goes back and forth like you're playing a game of friggin' whack-a-mole. Again, if that is happening to you, do not panic. You are not alone. There is a ton of people this is happening to. It happened to my fiance. It happened to me, happening to a jillion people on Twitter. To get around that, you either need to be patient and wait until Bungie gets all of their crap straightened out, or you can do what I did, which I don't know if it's going to work for 100% of the people out there, but it worked for me. Really hot tip on this one from my good friend Cool Guy. Really hot tip. Tip so hot they call it the devil's foreskin. Here's what you do. Open up Google Chrome and activate incognito mode. I know that all of you out there are familiar with incognito mode, you degenerates. So open it that way, try the process again, and hopefully it works for you. It worked for me the one and only time I tried to do it in incognito mode. When you finally get past that part, you will be on step 3, where Bungie will ask you to choose your active characters. Again, these are the characters who are going to be available on any platform that you have ownership of. So that should be pretty easy. I mean, I know for me, I know exactly which Guardians I wanted to play on every platform, so I picked them, and then you can just move on from step 3. It is much easier than I thought it would be. Also, from what I understand, you can deactivate cross-save at any time, although I think there is a 90-day penalty to have cross-save re-enabled, but if you wanted to, you can deactivate it, I think, at any time. Finally, they are going to ask you to review your setup. You just have to look everything over and make sure it all looks good, and then hit yes, do it at the bottom, that gold button, and that is it. Everything is done. You now have cross-save set up. Really, the hardest part in all of that was getting past the authentication, but hopefully if you're watching this video late tonight on August 21st, hopefully Bungie has gotten all that garbage sorted out already. But again, if you're having trouble with it, try incognito mode. I don't know about you, but it worked for me. Anyway, that is it. Enjoy cross-save. I know I will. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. What up everyone, Fallout here, and if you may recall, pretty recently I put out a video showing off that, of all things, barrel length makes a difference on your weapon. That got figured out by tinkering around with the weapon ornament available on the Chaperone, and as it turns out, the Panama Ravine ornament, which gives your Chappie a longer barrel, gives you a slightly further out one-hit kill range as well. That was definitely a fun day. Weird one too. The good news though is that it helped explain some things that I couldn't quite understand, like why is the blue botheration shotgun so good? Answer number 1, really high impact. Answer number 2, it's well hung. Anyway, ever since that video, I've gotten a couple of messages and requests from you fine people, both on Twitter and on Twitch. Follow me there. And I thought, hey, why not reply to a few of those messages with this video? First up, some people thought, hey Fallout, maybe it's not the length of the barrel that makes the kill range longer, maybe the Panama Ravine Chaperone ornament actually gives you better zoom. And the more zoom you get, the more range you get, and maybe that's why the ornament performs better on the Chaperone. Actually, not a bad idea. I was hoping that maybe that would be true, because even though it would make me look like an idiot, it would make a lot more sense than friggin' barrel length. But as it turns out, no, it ain't true. The Panama Ravine ornament offers no extra zoom or magnification of any kind when compared with the default Chaperone. Wah wah. Are we really sure it's the barrel length though? I mean, hey, here's a surefire way to tell. Try it on a different gun. Again, thanks to everyone, mostly on Twitter, who offered up suggestions of other weapons to look at, and here's what I ended up rolling with. The Polaris Lance Exotic Scout Rifle. Gotta be honest, I haven't used the Polaris Lance since,
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But anyway, turns out there's a weapon skin for the Polaris Lance that I forgot about, the Bray Legacy, and I'll be damned. Is that a longer barrel, or are you just happy to see me? So you know what happened next. Grabbed my good friend Paul, and we hopped into a private lobby. We found the absolute maximum damage drop-off point with the regular barrel. See right there, when you drop from 68 to 67 damage, that would be the damage drop-off point, because the regular max headshot damage is 68. Then, without moving, go to your inventory, go gadget barrel, go back to the game, and would you look at that, maximum damage. Yep, confirmed on a different weapon for all you disbelievers. Barrel length is definitely a factor. How weird. I wasn't kidding when I said come October I'd be looking for long shotguns. I'm on the hunt for some giraffe-looking weapons out here, boys. Oh, and there was one other weapon I wanted to try out that I got a bunch of messages asking me about. What was that gun again? Oh, that's right, the last word. Cue the collective rut-row. Some folks have pointed out to me that the last word's ornament, laconic, actually makes the barrel a teensy bit longer. I mean, not Polaris Lance longer, but a smidge. So the question is, does the smidge given by the laconic ornament improve your damage drop-off point on the last word? As far as I can tell, no, it does not. Turns out that even though barrel length does matter, some weapon skins simply don't give enough length to make a difference. And thank God, right? Otherwise I'd be out here measuring all day and night. So for all of you out there who asked me about this, you can sleep soundly knowing that the laconic last word ornament doesn't change your weapon's performance because it just isn't long enough to make a difference. Cross your fingers that the only time you hear those 10 words in your life is from me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Confirmed on another gun. Does this potentially open up a discussion about, quote, pay-to-win weapon skins? It's really minor in terms of how much better the weapon performs, but there definitely shouldn't be any situation ever where a weapon skin makes a gun perform better in the game, no matter by how small. That's wading into questionable and strange territory. At least that's my opinion anyway. Thanks again to everyone for your suggestions on weapons with long barrels. There's a freaking sentence I never thought I'd say. I think I'm fine on suggestions for now, but again, come October, if you see any unusually long shotguns or hand cannons, you know where to find me. That is it for today. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to sub, like, comment, bell, follow, retweet, share, stalk, and look suggestively at me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, Fallout here, and today we're talking about pinnacle weapons in Destiny 2. Why? Well, with Shadowkeep and New Light right around the corner, there's probably a giant wave of players on their way in to experience Destiny. Either they bailed after the dark times of D2 Year 1, which we'll no longer talk about, or maybe they're hopping into Destiny for the very first time. Either way, this video is here to answer the question, which pinnacle weapons in Destiny 2 are worth grinding for and which ones aren't? For you newcomers out there, pinnacle weapons are unique guns that can only be unlocked by completing a particular quest, usually one that is pretty long and challenging. I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best, not exactly by number, but by tier, of which I have fit every weapon into 4 tiers. Before I get going, it is really important to buy all of my merch. JK, it is really important to note that as of the making of this video, I have only played with all of these pinnacle weapons on console and therefore on controller. But that doesn't mean if you're a PC player that I didn't include you in this video. I will explain. If you didn't know, Destiny on PC plays way differently than Destiny on console. I've said that about a trillion times, but it bears repeating. Playing with mouse and keyboard means no weapon recoil, meaning certain weapons can feel amazing on PC and feel like a hot pile of wet, salty garbage on console, and vice versa. There are some weapons that are great with a controller, but mouse and keyboard players simply have no use for them because they have better options due to living in a world with no recoil. I have to put that out there because there's no doubt in my mind that the comment section will be littered with people arguing about the viability of some weapons based on where they play. That being said, because I'm trying to give people an idea of what to grind for if they're returning to D2 or picking it up for the first time, I'm going to do my best to make sure that the tiers factor in whether that ranking is based on controller usage or M&K. Got it? Good. Moving forward, as of right now, there are about 11 different pinnacle weapons in D2. Technically 13 if you're gonna be a ball breaker about it, but 2 of them are kinda duplicates, so I'm tallying up 11. Fight me. And we are starting, of course, where else, at the bottom, with bottom tier, aka the Dear God Why tier. These are the weapons that you really have almost no business using because if you're asking me, they are highly outperformed by a bunch of other options. There are really only 2 weapons in this tier, and here they are in no particular order. The Oxygen SR3 Scout Rifle. Of course, if you're familiar at all with D2, you knew this thing was going to be down at the bottom with the rest of the trash. What makes it bad? Well, it's not so much that the weapon can't perform, it's that it doesn't bring anything wildly unique to the table, and you'd probably be better off with a lot of other weapons. Its main appeal is that it offers a perk that beefs up the power of Dragonfly based on landing headshots. What's really tragic is that right now, scout rifles are in a pretty terrible place in D2. They aren't used a ton in PvE, and they're only used really on certain maps in PvP. At some point in the future though, scout rifles are going to get buffed, so this could be one of those scenarios where the nerdy kid who got shoved into his own locker one too many times in school comes back jacked out of his mind at the 10-year anniversary. I'm actually kinda hoping for that, to be honest, because I have almost no reason to equip this monstrosity when there are other weapons that let you go full beast mode with pretty much half the effort required by the Oxygen. In Destiny 1, there was a widely loved hand cannon called the Fatebringer, and that thing was the king of headshot explodey damage. It was easy to use, powerful, effective at close and mid ranges, and just damn good overall. The Oxygen is clunky, doesn't work well up close, and does not impress. Fatebringer calls up the Oxygen late at night, starts laughing, and then hangs up the phone. The other weapon in the bottom tier basket is the Hush Bow. I gotta tell you, boys and girls, I have never in my life worked so hard to acquire something in a game that disappointed me so fast. Do me a favor, imagine for a minute that you decide one day that you're going to grow tomatoes in your backyard. You spend time, money, effort, blood, and sweat every day trying to make those tomatoes grow. Progress is there, I guess, but it's slow and painful, and your friends are asking you why you're even bothering since it's not tomato season, and you tell them to mind their own damn business. Mostly because you've already sunken so much friggin' time into growing these tomatoes that you don't want to bail now. Finally, you get one to fully grow. You're so happy. You go to harvest it, you reach out, and when you pluck it, it explodes into your face. And not only that, it was somehow filled with dog dew. That is the most accurate comparison I could come up with that depicted my grind of the Hushbow. Again, I play controller, and I'm hoping that when cross-save drops later this month, maybe I can give the weapon a better review in the land of mouse and keyboard, where I imagine it was intended to be used. In my current experience, this thing does not pull its own weight. And before you scurry down to the comment section to link another video by another content creator showing that, yeah, you can in fact use the Hushbow well in PvP, just know this: can is different than likely to. We are out here trying to measure consistency. Do you know how many people I run into on average in Gambit running the Hushbow? 0. How about in raids? 0. How about in high-ranked competitive? Bagel. What about quick play? Yeah, come to think of it, I do see a Hush once in a blue moon, and it's always in the hands of some poor schmuck blueberry getting his teeth kicked in the corner. Bottom line, there are both better bows and better weapons available if you ask me. This thing is underused for a reason, and if you don't have it by now, don't bother. Now we're moving on to the mid-low tier, aka the yeah, I'd rather not tier. Here, we still have weapons that are outclassed by other options, but they aren't as aggressively bad as the Hush and the Oxygen. If someone gave you these weapons, you could make them work for sure, but you wouldn't want to use them forever because there are more user-friendly options out there. Kicking that tier list off is the 21% Delirium machine gun. Let's be clear, I like the Delirium for being able to shred through trash enemies with an almost bottomless mag. It's actually pretty fun. That being said, there are other weapons out there that can also carve through PvE enemies without needing to dip into your power weapon supply. It's overkill, like mowing your lawn with a flamethrower. Fun on paper, but probably ill-advised. It might be more effective to put your power ammo to better use with other options that deal way better DPS against bigger threats. Not to mention that as far as troublemaking machine guns go in both Gambit and PvP, the Delirium looks up in awe to its bigger brother, the Hammerhead, a true pro at pissing off other players, which completely puts the Delirium to shame in the range department, especially in the land of mouse and keyboard, aka the no recoil zone. Machine guns with good range can make even scout rifles cry with envy, shredding people across the map with little to no difficulty. On top of that, the Hammerhead can be somewhat easily farmed in the forges with the option to give you various roles of your choosing rather than one fixed role. In short, the Delirium can do work, but others can do work better. Also in the mid-low tier basket, we have the Redrix's Claymore and Redrix's Broadsword, and believe me, it really pains me to put them that low. The Claymore was the first pinnacle weapon Bungie put out, and I worked hard to get it. When its unique perk gets triggered and the circumstances are just right, the Claymore can tear through other players in PvP with minimal effort. The only problem is that when the unique perk isn't active and your enemies aren't all bunched together clearly out in front of you, the Claymore and the Broadsword are just basic, and not the good pumpkin spice basic. Without its unique perk active, Redrix has a lot of good competition, mainly from the Blast Furnace on PC and the Bygones on console. Now, if you want to get real technical, Redrix has a better time to kill on paper, but you literally have to be perfect with your headshots. One mistake and you're going to need an extra burst to finish off an enemy, and in that time, your enemy could very easily kill you. That is mainly what a lot of the other popular popular pulse rifles have over the Redrix's Claymore and Broadsword. They're more forgiving. If you want, you could still grind for the Broadsword. I wouldn't say you would be wasting your time, but you could easily grind out a Blast Furnace, which is easier to use, has way more range, fires 4 bullets in one burst, and can roll with Kill Clip, which is way easier to activate. Just saying. Moving on up, we come to the weapons in the mid-high tier category, aka the yeah, I can make that work tier. Weapons here are good. They may still have competition, but not a ton, and you'd be perfectly fine using them for their intended role in the sandbox. The first gun in that basket is the Wendigo grenade launcher. Grenade launchers are currently really powerful in PvE, if you haven't noticed. I mean, I'm not saying they're overpowered, but with the right grenade launcher, you can bitch slap most raid bosses in the blink of an eye. And despite being a pinnacle weapon with a pretty handy unique perk, believe it or not, the Wendigo isn't the best DPS option out there in the grenade launcher department. Cough cough, watch my Swarm of the Raven video. It isn't that the Wendigo doesn't do good damage, it definitely does, and if you don't want to deal with the headache of Iron Banner to get a tier 1 grenade launcher with the right roll, you can always just say F it and go for the Wendigo. Grinding for this weapon definitely was a pain in the ass though, so keep that in mind. I mean, not long, but hard. Giggity. Moving right along, also in the mid-high tier category, we have the Breakneck Auto Rifle. In terms of tearing through low-level trash, the Breakneck is a pretty reliable companion. Relatively fast firing, easy to activate, easy to keep the pain train going. And while the Breakneck doesn't hit as hard as, say, the 21% Delirium, it also runs on primary ammo rather than power ammo, so yay to that. I'm not really a big auto rifle guy though, but for the purposes of PvE, I would gladly roll with the Breakneck if other trash shredding weapons got randomly nerfed. Breakneck is the reliable guy who shows up work, does what he's told, and doesn't complain. Next, the Loaded Question Fusion Rifle. I gotta tell you, in the Vooping department, miss me with those that fire fast and hit soft. I like Voop rifles that hit harder than a Vegas hangover, and the Loaded Question does not disappoint. 95 impact and a member of the high impact frame family, the Loaded Question does fine in PvP and more than fine in PvE. Combining this with either a Titan Rally Barricade or a Warlock with Lunafaction boots for auto reloading, and you have the power to pack a repeated wallop again and again and again. This gun would probably rank higher if it weren't for, well, the top tier guns on this list. If you like fusion rifles and you enjoy playing PvE, I can definitely recommend the Loaded Question. The last gun in the mid-high tier barrel is the Revoker Sniper Rifle. This thing was built for PvP, and even though I'm not wild about the concept of a gun that rewards players for being not accurate, it deserves to be in the mid-high tier. The Revoker gives you ammo back on a miss, meaning you can be really devil-may-care with your shots in PvP and not have to worry about bleeding out of ammo. TLDR, pop shots for days, boys. Certain large maps in the comp playlist, like Eternity, are just begging for the Revoker to come out and ruin some poor Guardian's day. That being said, without its unique perk, the Revoker is not that good. Rapid fire frame snipers are the current hotness in PvP right now, and the Revoker belongs to the slowest rate of fire archetype in the sniper family. It does come equipped with Snapshot, but other than that, it has Garbo handling, and in the hands of an accurate sniper, there are a lot of other options that are just better. I still recommend going for the Revoker because it's one of the easier PvP pinnacle weapons to get, and it's fun to use on certain maps. Again, if you're a good sniper though, you really could do a lot better than the Revoker. Finally, we come to the top of the heap. We are now entering the land of top tier, aka bitch, you need this tier. Of course, it still depends if you really like playing PvE or PvP, which of these guns exactly you should go for, but